Every morning, I left my small apartment with the same hope in my heart to do my work well and return home peacefully. My name is Sabrina. I'm 34, and for years I worked in a large corporate office where everything looked polished, even when people weren't. I never had much money, but I always made sure I looked neat. Clean clothes, tied hair, calm smile, the kind of appearance that helped me blend in. Attention was never something I wanted. I believed that if I just kept my head down and worked hard, life would take care of the rest. But things changed when Richard, my 42-year-old boss, began stopping by my desk more often than usual. He was known for his sharp suits and serious face, the kind of man you wouldn't expect to laugh or relax. Yet sometimes, when he spoke to me, there was a softness in his eyes, something I tried hard to ignore. At first, he only asked about projects. Then his visits grew longer. His gaze lingered more than it should. And though I pretended not to notice, inside I felt uneasy. One afternoon he said, "Sabrina, you work harder than most people here. You should be rewarded." Outwardly I smiled. Inside, the words twisted around my thoughts. Rewarded? How? Why me? A week later, he called me into his office. My heart raced. Had I made a mistake? But instead, he spoke about my salary. He praised my dedication, told me I deserved better, and for a moment I felt light. A raise would change my life. Then he added quietly, "Maybe we can talk more about this over dinner." Dinner with my boss. It felt wrong. It felt complicated, but it also felt like an opportunity I couldn't risk losing. So I nodded. The restaurant he chose overlooked the sea, glowing under soft evening lights. He wasn't wearing his usual suit. He looked relaxed. He told me I looked lovely. He asked about my dreams. He shared his loneliness, his long hours, his quiet apartment. And somewhere between the laughter and the pauses, he gently held my hand. I knew this wasn't professional. I knew I should pull away, but I didn't. Later that night, in his apartment, the distance between us disappeared completely. It felt unreal, like stepping into a moment I wasn't prepared for, yet couldn't escape. The next morning, I woke with uncertainty wrapped around my heart. He smiled and promised, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." I wanted so badly to believe him. When we returned to the office, everything looked the same. Desks, computers, the quiet hum of work. But Richard was different. He didn't mention the night we spent together. He didn't look at me the way he did at the restaurant. He acted like nothing had happened at all. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no talk about the raise he promised. Every time I gathered the courage to ask, he brushed it aside with a rehearsed smile and the same words. "Be patient. These things take time." But patience can't survive on empty promises. Slowly, Richard began to distance himself. He stopped visiting my desk. He avoided my eyes during meetings. He became cold, as if the night we shared was something he regretted, something he wanted to erase. The hurt grew heavy inside me. One afternoon, unable to carry it anymore, I walked into his office and confronted him. "You said you'd help me," I whispered, struggling to keep my voice steady. "You promised." He didn't even look guilty. Instead, he stood up and said sharply, "Sabrina, you shouldn't mix personal feelings with work. This conversation is inappropriate." In that moment, my heart cracked. How easily he had turned the blame on me. How easily he pretended that everything had been my idea, my mistake. Rumors spread quickly in the office. Whispers followed me down hallways. People stared, judged, invented their own versions of the truth. I felt alone in every room. Then came the call from HR. Sitting across from Miss Harper, I finally told the truth, the whole truth. The messages, the promises, the dinner, the night at his apartment. She listened, expression unreadable. An investigation followed. Richard denied everything, but evidence doesn't lie. He was fired. For a moment, I thought justice meant relief, but reality was cruel. Coworkers blamed me for his downfall. They whispered words meant to wound. And soon, a letter arrived. The company no longer wanted me there. I left the building with no goodbyes, no handshakes, only silence. At home, the tears finally fell. Tears for my job, my trust, my mistake of believing someone who never truly saw my worth. A month passed before I found another job. My new boss, Mr. Terry, treated everyone with respect. No stares, no hidden motives, just work, honesty, and dignity. In that safe space, I rebuilt myself. I learned that my value doesn't come from anyone's approval, attention, or promise. I learned that I am enough, on my own. And that was the strength I had been searching for all along.